What's up, all you nerds and turds? It's me, it's Steve, it's Matt, it's Andy, and this is Indie's Nuts Podcast, the internet's #1 indie gaming news, reviews, and previews podcast hosted by people you've never heard of that you don't watch or listen to on your favorite podcast service, including our home Podbean and watching it on youtube.com/Duel Screens TV. What's up, Matt? What's up, Andy? How you guys doing?
Chilling, man. We're doing good. Ready to talk about some great indie games.
So, video games is crazy right now. I just want everybody to know that.
It's insane.
From the indie sphere to the AAA sphere, we got PSVR 2 reviews out today. It's banana land in the world of video games.
It's like some weird deluge of too many releases all at once, and I don't like it. I love it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Andy, how are you?
I am well, and I have a conflict because there is just, again, I feel like gaming is like a seamless app to me now, where I'm hungry and I don't know what to order, and I just and I just go for, like, you know, my diner cheeseburger of a game, and I'm not trying new things, and it's scary because it's a funk that you kind of sink into.
Well,
wait, so do you feel like you're getting your appetizers and you're not getting your entree, or what? Like, where?
No, it's
you've settled
like,
into a standard.
He keeps going to the same old staples.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's like, you know, it's like, okay, you're hungry, you got a healthy appetite, and you're just scrolling through. Like, that doesn't sound right. That don't sound that appealing. I'm going to earmark that for next time. Do I really want to eat that right? Nah, not really. Okay, maybe. That's like, fuck it. I'm just going to play with you till 5 a.m.
Except last week, where we all played
mad demos.
Like almost a dozen games each.
I think that's because, you know, that was like you're walking down the block and like every shop does a free sample at the storefront. So you got to try it. It's like, yeah, I'll have the, you know, whatever you got there. Nuts and yogurt lady. So you eat it, you know, you move on.
Last week felt like I was on a honeymoon. I was on my honeymoon, and it was like, oh, here's a restaurant we haven't seen. But by like, my honeymoon was 10 days. By day like 8 or 9, we just kept going back to the same place.
Yeah.
And it was like, I like this place.
I know we were supposed to play more demos, but it just like, there were so many demos. Yeah. And I played so many demos.
And then a lot of them vanished.
And then they all disappeared. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, dang.
You know what?
Why wouldn't you just keep your demo up? Why would you not just keep the demo up for the game?
I don't know.
It doesn't make
I
any
don't get
sense.
that.
I don't know, man.
Well, the idea is like if you go back, it just says purchase. So it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's like maybe I'll pre-buy it.
No,
no. I don't. I pre-buy nothing.
But
hey, we took the demo away for this game, but do you want to buy it?
I don't know. I missed the demo, but I guess I'll just sit here and wait.
Buy it, but it has no firm release date or year.
But you can buy it.
Yeah.
Just give us money, please.
Oh, the state of indie games. Speaking of the state of indie games, we actually have a really cool news story to talk about in our indie news report that focuses on Game Pass and indie games. So I can't wait to get into that discussion. But before we do, what is new on DuelScreens.com? Mr. Andy Asimakis, our editor-in-chief-yo.
Well, if you go to DuelScreens.com, you'll find a lovely preview for Prison City written by moi, posted earlier today.
Indeed.
So peep that out. We have a lovely article by Miss Rads.
Sunny Rads.
I want to say after the show.
Sure.
Yeah, that's happening.
Okay.
Whenever you want, man.
Zone is a game she wrote about.
Ooh.
That's happening. And then more stuff is.
We have a review, I think, coming out from Jimmy.
Yes. Look at us just doing things. We have all the things happening on that website.
Indeed.
Check it out.
Indeed.
You will only marginally regret it.
Marginal. Like margarine. Can't believe it's not news. All right, so let's get into the indie game adventures again. Folks, these are games that we played either the demo of or the the full release of, and we're gonna just give a little big old talk about it. But I want to start at the bottom here because this is a fun one that we have some history on. There, Andreas Asimakis.
Yeah. So I know you guys had the developer of this game on quite a long time ago, and that this isn't a particularly new game. However,
I forgot to mute the page. Go ahead.
Like the past couple weeks, I have been kind of digging through. I mean, it's really Andy's game, but I've been kind of digging through some older games, and I started playing Grapple Dog. I was like, oh man, yeah, this is a pretty cute little fun platformer. And the further I got into it, the more I was like, holy shit, this is like a mechanically difficult, incredible platformer. Like, the boss fights can be really, really simple, but like some of the stages and like just like the mechanical asks of you, like hop off a wall, aim your grappling hook, get the grapple on the thing, swing immediately because there's a saw blade coming at you, hop off, make sure you grab the next grapple point. It's crazy, and I have been having a fucking blast with this game. And also, the soundtrack fucking slaps. It's so good. Dude, it's like old school Sonic funk. It's crazy good. And yeah,
it's like Sonic and like Bionic Commando, like wrapped together.
I have been absolutely loving this game. I think I'm like one boss away from beating the whole thing. But this game deserves way more praise than it gets. It's so good and so much fun.
Oh yeah, and you can check out that show. All you gotta do is go into our archives. You could probably go to our guest host page. Isn't that right, Andy? On duelscreens.com.
That's brand new one?
Right. It's near. Yes, it's on the homepage. Click it. It says guest host right there. It needs a little bit of beautification, but it's like nearing almost up to date. We're like 40 guests away.
All right.
It's almost freaking there.
It's almost
there. It takes time. Everything takes
time. Oh my God. My baby.
I keep forgetting to mute all of these.
That page is my child.
So the next one I want to go into is another former guest, but a more recent guest. And this is Eldorand, which is it's 15% off right now. So the Steam page has a roll up right now. So it might be a little bit off as far as the capture. So if you're a video viewer, this may be a little overcropped or undercropped or whatever. But go ahead, Andy, take it away.
You get the idea.
So this game, I love so much because it's not trying to be a super fancy, let's break the formula Metroidvania game. It is a straight up, no frills, what you expect a Metroidvania game to be. Funky weapons, cool magic abilities, great big map, engaging boss fights, awesome soundtrack, great level design. As to what a Metroidvania should be through and through. It's not terribly long. It's on the short side, which, give it the price tag. Okay, I get it. I'll allow it. It's no like Hollow Knight. It doesn't have to be. But it's not like trying to be like what a Chasm wanted to be and like just not be great.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel with these.
Yeah, you really don't.
These genre are popular for a reason.
You just if you could do it like, again, there's like a checklist when you make a mature. They hit all the marks and exceed and excel in all of them. So if you want a really great Metroidvania that's going to deliver, this is the game.
Yeah, this looks super good. I'm so glad that we own this.
And also find someone that loves to share your Steam library like Matt and I do.
Yeah, for real.
That's a life goal for all the listeners.
We're Steam lovers.
These are illegal.
Yeah, it's so good. So good.
Next on our list here is the Forgotten Tapes Analog Nightmares. That sounds horrifying.
Let me throw that. So this an upcoming guest of the show.
Ooh.
This is actually a referral from a previous guest. And with the Duel Screen program, once you refer 5 guests, we make a game for you. That's how it works.
Ooh.
or some shit. So it's actually really fitting that I played this game this week because I've been like on an analog horror kind of kick. Matt and I recently both watched Skinamarink, which is an experimental analog horror game. And for those who don't know what that term means, it's an approach to horror that isn't really okay. A classic horror movie has like, you know, characters
there are
that
tropes.
speak words.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like a full-blown script and all that stuff. These kind of horror are more about the ambiance, the sound design, what the camera is showing you, and you picking up on the lore. So someone has made a story in their brain and they're piecemealing it like spoon dripping little things, little nuggets, and you're gonna see what it's about.
Yeah.
And this has 9 stories packaged into it, each of a different developer.
Ooh.
So I love it.
That's cool. It's like a little anthology.
It's like, yeah, it's like $7. I think it's on sale now for like 6 or 4 or some shit like that.
It's $6.99 right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna know something weird just on this weird topic is that I find like PS1 or like that era graphics way creepier than so much other stuff like modern stuff. I don't know what it is.
We've said it before. It's the limitations.
There's something about it.
Because it plays on that your imagination and everything looks distorted in some way.
Yeah.
And surreal.
Oh yeah. Also,
and
the world doesn't function.
System.
What do you mean?
The world the world doesn't function the way you want it to. Like everything is just a little bit off. It's like in like when Phasmophobia is a newer multiplayer horror game that a lot of people are familiar with and play. You can play multiplayer and all that stuff. But like when the game first came out, it's since been updated, but like the fact that you couldn't shift and run in the game, like to get away from the thing, it was just a agonizing walk or like a slightly faster walk. Just not being able to do what you expect that you should be able to do when there's a ghost in front of you, like added a layer of fuckery to it. And I think you get that with PS1 era style games because there is that layer of fuckery, especially going back to them now where you can't move cameras. You can't, you know, a lot of times it's isometric. It's just,
it's very like, it's claustrophobic. It's very like janky in like in a weirdly unsettling way. Nightmare Creatures always comes to mind for me for some reason because I remember that game as a teenager or like a preteen scaring the shit out of me for whatever reason. And I know it's not a scary game, but I just have these like visions of these like grotesque, terrible polygon monsters trying to come fucking murder me. But yeah, no, I agree, Andy. I think this analog horror kick that's kind of been surfacing itself has been very interesting to watch grow up.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, and it's just it's all about the slow burn, and it's just it doesn't hold. It's like it's neither show nor tell, which is kind of weird when you put it that way, but it's like they don't hold your hand through the story or lack thereof. They just kind of show you flashes of things.
Yeah.
And you really can't even look at your phone for a second, like to distract yourself, because you have to be just hyper focused on what's going on when you engage in this kind of horror. And it's best played again with headphones by yourself in the dark. It's just you in the night. It is you in the nightmare.
What I do in the dark with headphones on is none of your business, Andy.
So good. And I got one more, Steve. I want to mention before we unless you want to go. Do you have
I don't have anything until we get to Wishlist Roundup.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I mean, maybe I do.
I put a bunch of stuff in the wishlist thing. I gotta put some shit in.
So, the last game I played this week, and actually I beat a game, which is like a miracle lately. It's also a former guest of the show. It's a game called Blood Wash. Blood Wash is a game where you go do laundry, and there's a killer called the Womb Ripper that's been cutting out babies, unborn babies from women's all over the neighborhood. I want to say it's like a 2-hour game, And I started playing it like when we first had the dev on the show, and there's no like real save feature. So I stopped playing at a certain point and it kicks you out. And it's like, pick chapter. I was like, well, that's the start of the chapter. I lost all my progress, so F that shit. But it looks great on the Steam Deck. So I played it one night in bed, beat in 2 hours, and it was fucking great. It's delightfully creepy. Against it's that PS1 graphic style that that I love so much. It's a nice little short horror story, and
I might go play that now that you said that it plays well on the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck
plays
has been
really well.
It's been like my primary gaming console since I got it.
I'm gonna do another shout out while we're on this note, Matt. There's a game on my Steam Deck called Janitor Bleeds. Similar idea. It's a first person retro horror throwback. Also plays amazing on the Steam Deck.
I'm gonna need you to get into therapy, Andy, because
you know what I'm gonna do. You got look forward. Look, listen. I'm gonna say now. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel, because I'm gonna post a full playthrough of Bloodwash on there for those who aren't into horror but want to see what it's all about.
A whole no damage S tier.
I mean, there's no damage anyway. Just fucking, you get a gun at one point and that's it. There's no real like shit. Like, you can't really die in a game like this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking both of those out.
Next up is Matt's Game of the Year.
I think so, maybe. Dustin Neon is fucking awesome. I've dug more into this game. The like meta progression in this game is really fun. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can unlock, and
like synergies.
No synergies. There's not a whole lot of synergies. This is not a synergy game. So this is the cool thing about
zero synergies.
This is the cool thing about this game, is that it's a roguelike that's also like a looter shooter, because as opposed to picking up different items and creating like these synergies, you're just picking up better and better weapons. You have 3 slots. You have a slot for a shotgun, a pistol, and like a sniper rifle type gun. And as you go through, you'll just pick up better and better versions of them, and they all work completely differently. Like,
heck yeah, you will.
Like there's like ones that will have 5 bullets, 6 bullets, whatever, for like a revolver that acts more like a shotgun that acts more like a sniper rifle. But then throughout your runs, you'll gain like the meta currency, and you can like add extra health to yourself, accuracy, carry more bullets. But then there's a other meta currency where you can like decrease shop prices in the world and all this stuff. And how it's set up is really cool too. There is a like an overworld map where randomly generated missions will pop up, and you go into these missions, kill 3 wanted things, take down this this one super boss guy, or deactivate these like power nodes or something like that. And it all feels really different and fresh every time that you play it. The cover system is outstanding. It really is like a high skill ceiling kind of a game where your run is never going to be like busted. Like in Isaac, you can get to the point where you have so many bullets on screen, they're so huge, there's so many different effects going on, that like you can walk into a room and just like absolutely annihilate everything. Here it matters so much, like your aiming, your ability to reload your guns, switch your guns, roll, dodge, find good cover. It really takes a whole different approach to roguelikes. The 5Ds: dip, duck, dodge, dive, duck, and dodge. Again, and dip.
That was a lot of Ds.
Yeah, I think I got all of them. But yeah, I don't know. So far, this is my favorite game I've played this year, and I'm not even all the way through it, so I can't wait to see what the rest of the game has in store for me. Super good.
Dope ski.
Can I just say
potatoes?
At what point is this show just going to devolve into all about roguelike games? Because that is the direction we're headed in.
I'm trying to branch out. All right, I play Grapple Dog.
The Rogues Gallery. That's the new name of the show.
That's the name of the show. Rogues Gallery. I like it.
Alrighty then. Now let's get into the indie steal of the week. Steal of the week.
Steal of the
week. And I don't know who put this in here, so
it was me.
Oh,
I think that was
Matt. This game is
a roguelike.
It's a roguelike and an enemy hell game.
And it's early access, and it's only $2.99.
Yeah, so it's $2.99 naturally. It's not on sale.
Naturally.
This is an enemy hell type game. Bunch of different characters that you can buy, a bunch of different worlds that have a bunch of different enemies. The cool, unique thing about it is that as you level up, you'll be able to select, different runes to power up your attacks. But if you get 3 of the same rune, you can combine them into something better. So like a better type of rune, and that kind of keeps escalating. So like, you'll get 3 regular bolts. You put those together, it gives you 3 choices of a different powered up bolt. And then the next time that you get 3 bolts, you can select that again. And then when you get 3 of the, like, let's say it's like red, green, and blue, you get 3 blue bolts. You put those together, it gives you a whole different option. What's really cool is one of the runes is called a link rune. And if you kill an enemy with your main attack, it will fire off a second attack that you can then also build out. And so you can have like these crazy chains of attacks just popping off all the time. It's a really, really cool take on this genre. And I kind of hope it takes off because it feels like it could have some legs to it. And if they could add a little bit more robust weapon selection, I think they could really have a winner on their hands, especially for $2.99.
It also doesn't really stand out like visually among
its
it really
peers,
doesn't. So
it doesn't.
that's just going to be a natural hurdle for a game like this to kind of overcome. It's like, that's what makes Soulstone stand out to me.
Right.
Which is going to be in our news. Art. It just looks very different from the games in its genre. And that other one that we spoke about, Swarm Cade, like that looked totally different from all the others. So yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I have this is an early access, so I have high hopes for its future. I doubt they'll change the art style, but just the unique mechanics that exist inside of it, I think hopefully will be enough to kind of push it forward.
High hopes. You've got high hopes.
Oh God.
Something. So you guys added more shit since I created all my.
Add one shit.
All my
I
things.
took one shit on the dock.
I added
guess
two
what,
shit.
Steve?
I
was
two
born in
shits.
1949. Suck it. I have to verify my age for this next one here, folks.
Oh boy.
All right, now we're gonna get into the Wishlist Roundup. This is where we tell you all the games that you should wishlist. They are not out right now, or at least in theory they shouldn't be. Sometimes we miss that. But you should wish list. Wow.
You should do it.
Those 2 words.
Say
tough.
that fast.
Tough to come
Say
around,
words.
to come around. Anyway, the first one on our list is Outer Terror. Dun, 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 dun.
So this is
this game straight up made me crack up.
Does it look like the
so
Warriors?
I think this might have this might get a Duel Screens award at the end of the year for most deceiving cover art.
Most deceiving like cuts menus and look at this game.
Yeah. So I threw this in here. It definitely is an enemy hell roguelike. I have no idea, but it looks so fun. Like I love the art style. It has like that pulpy old horror vibe to it, and I am fucking so in.
They run like neighbors. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like that's what that's how the animation like. Just,
yeah, it's like a little janky.
Yeah.
It's like 10 frames a second.
I was not expecting this. Like the first thing, like from the
link?
cover art and then starting the trailer, it was like, look at this. This is like title cards. It kind of looked like
usurp the crying god?
I thought it was gonna be like a Left 4 Dead game, and then this fucking little janky little dude with like two animation frames.
It's got a high ass production value in that trailer.
Game and Watch running looking little dude. Like, oh man.
Whoever put that trailer together is a genius, though, because like literally, it's like, can you usurp the throne of God? Beep 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 beep.
The only thing that would make this better is if the sound was like Burger Time, like if it was just bleeps and bloops and like whenever you kill something, like I would be totally down with that.
Yeah. So I don't know. This
game
looks fun.
It looks like a lot of fun. It really does. So I want to talk about a game that I was going to play the demo of and then just never got around to it. So I will play the demo but you should be wishlisting this because this game looks dope as hell. It's Cynthia Hidden in the Moon Shadow.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but you look at this game.
That's pretty.
Goodness gracious. I mean, of course there are people that are going to be like, oh, Zelda clone, you Breath of the Wild clone, whatever. It's like
Are you going to like it if it's a Breath of the Wild clone?
Nothing could be as void of fun.
Shouldn't you hate it if it was a Breath of the Wild clone?
Yeah, I feel like you should just outright hate
this. This just looks like it's got a lot more going on. The
so.
combat looks like it's a little bit more flashy.
This does look really fun.
You do sneakies. It looks very like in art. It looks a lot like a Fortnite. But yeah, it reminds me less of Breath of the Wild and more like shoot, what was that? It's like a kind of a stopgap between like a Kena and a Horizon. Like that's kind of like what I get from it. Like
I can definitely see that.
And what was the what was the I think it was Greek, right? With the puzzles. What was that?
Phoenix Rising or whatever.
Yeah. Immortals
Phoenix Rising.
Yeah. Phoenix Rising.
I get a lot of vibes from that, but this looks like it's got super high quality production, and it's coming from Katia Games. I've never heard of them. It's supposedly coming Q1 2023. Honestly, I had no idea what this game was until it just popped up on the Next Fest like demo list.
Yeah.
So,
it looks super cool.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I will play it. It looks like it's going to be a really good time. So I wanted to put it on there, put it on your radar for your wish lists. Don't be a jerk.
Andy
put it on your wish list.
Already loves the next game that's on our wish list, and he doesn't know it yet.
Probably.
Oh, I saw it because I clicked on it, and it is totally up my alley. I love every second of it.
We need to get a basketball game on here, like a really niche indie basketball game, and call it the Swish List. Swish.
They do it.
Yeah, Steve.
What?
They do it. All right, next game. Whose game is this? Is this a you game, Matt?
Silent Santacaro.
Yeah, this is a me game, so I threw this on here. The art style immediately got me. They have like the whole like everything's black and white except for the red, and I love that. And then just like the combat looks really visceral and fun, and I don't know, it's on my wish list. The music sounds great, the world looks cool. It's a Metroidvania. I want to do it. I want to do this game.
It has like a We Bleed Pixels sort of like mechanics to it.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
They also have like a bunch of different filters that like a monochromatic filters that you can throw on it that are unlockable, which is pretty cool. I think there's like a retro, like straight up, like just Game Boy one.
The soundtrack is amazing.
So yeah, I don't know. This is definitely one to look out for sure.
I there's just something very simple but just beautiful about black and white and red. Just
Agreed.
all over the place. I'm scrolling through so you could our viewers could take a look at the filters on here. Game Boy filter.
That one hurts my eyes.
The red one or the green one?
The red one.
Yeah.
Is there a Virtual Boy filter?
Basically.
Oh, there it is.
The red one.
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, totally.
Saw it.
Hey, do you want to burn your eyes? Stare at this for 4 hours.
Do you not like having retina?
Yeah.
I sure do.
Do you like seeing colors?
You're
Never
in luck.
again. With Virtual Boy.
I hate my retina.
Do you want free LASIK? Then please check this out.
Do you want to fight some damn orcs?
I do.
Wishlist orcs now.
This game looks so good.
Yeah.
This is like a city tower defense builder, deck builder game. It looks up a lot of people's alley that we know.
Right up my ass, this game.
Thought you were gonna say asses for a second.
The Saturday morning cartoon fucking trailer is kind of what got me into like even thinking about this game. And then the gameplay just looks super fun. Like, so you build up a little city with cards. There's a bunch of different towers you can place. And every once in a while, there's a big horde of orcs with an X that comes.
Really good.
And you fucking try to wreck them. So yeah.
Wrecked them.
Wrecked them. Damn near farted.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this looks really fun. And I cannot wait for this game to come out. So throw it on your wish list.
Hell yeah. That's going on my wish list.
It looks like it's already out.
Oh, it is already. It's in early access. I
Oh,
lied.
early
Yeah.
access. Throw
Yeah.
it on your. Well, I guess you could still put it on your wish list
Put it on your wish list.
if you don't want to spend the $20 to get in the early.
You guys know I
access.
can't read. You guys know I can't
Reading
read.
is very difficult.
Reading's hard for Matt, you guys.
It is.
It's just struggle is real.
Really difficult.
Do we get news, Steven? Is
We
there
do.
news happening?
We do have news.
Are there news things?
Yeah, there is. The first bit of news is that we got a major Soulstone Survivors update. Lots of new weapons, lots of new skills. But before that, we want to tell you to go to duelscreens.com/shop right now and check out. Oh, you can just go to duelscreens.com as well and just click the store link. And buy your next favorite T-shirt, which you can rep you can tell people how much you love indies. You know what I mean?
Someday, within the next 18 months, I'll make another shirt.
Maybe.
We'll see.
If you play your cards right. But we got a lot of cool, a lot of cool shirts up there right now. So go check them out if you want to be considered one of the cool kids. All right. So Soulstone Survivors. It is called Omen of Spring. And I got to be honest with you, this is very, very cool. There's a lot of new
they added a lot of shit.
Weapons and enemies and skills. So we have for the ice character there, we got the Ice Lord's Blade, new abilities, Arctic Assault, Frozen Blade. The Berserker has the Tempest Battle Axes, Thundering Slash, and Overcharge Strike. Now, here's the thing about this. I'm not going to go over all of them, but that was one of the things that was lacking in the I don't want to say lacking in the early access, but this was one of the things that was really promising, and I'm really happy that they're adding not just the weapons but the skills, because you would get a lot of repeat skills.
Yeah.
And a lot of skills would cross pollinate with a lot of the classes. I really like this idea of adding this many skills right off the bat, because it's not going to. You're gonna
end up finding so many different builds.
Yes,
because there's so many skills that get added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff. But then also, the Whispering Grove now has new enemy types. There's a flying little waspy hornet thing. There's a mushroom guy. It's hard to explain. There's like a treant in there as well.
Yeah.
Like a
what I think
thing.
is really important about this whole thing is that it shows that they're committed to diversifying the game. Like,
yeah,
one of the other problems that I think all of us had with the game, and it's not really a problem, but just that all of the areas had exactly the same enemies and it didn't matter. And so this is their first foray into giving a singular area unique enemies, and via their notes, they're planning to do that for every single section of the game.
Yeah, and you could kind of feel that. Yeah, you could tell that was the plan. Just because the level, like, that was one of the things. It was just a coat of paint. Like, that's what the levels really were. So something had to be different, because even the bosses are the same no matter which level you're trying to beat. So there's a couple of new features here as well. There's lock power. You can now purchase from the skill tree the ability to lock power-ups a few times per run. So if you get more than one amazing choice in a single level up, you can lock one, pick the other, and then on your next level up, that skill that you locked will stay there, and you'll only get two new options. So that's really cool. It's a way to like pin them down. If you're like, oh shit, I got two epics, how do I make the choice? I kind of like the idea of having to make those choices, but we'll see how this runs. They redesigned how exposed and vulnerable works, which are just different ways, or different debuffs that you put on enemies. Lots of skill changes, lots of rune changes, some new enemy attacks for the bosses. They've grown, most importantly to me, is that they've grown the size of their team.
Yep.
So this game has been a success at its current state, giving them the ability to expand their team, and hopefully this becomes another great indie game studio that can continue to grow and give us great video games over the next several years. We also have a new update for Justice Sucks. Andy, why don't you tell us about that one?
Oh my god, guys. One of my favorite games just got better. It's bloodier, it's raunchier,
Oh,
it's gore-tastic. It's your favorite killer Roomba killing more shit with more pints of blood than ever before. It's a free update. They launched it on Valentine's Day. How sweet of them. But yeah, if you don't have this game, first, our interview, check that out with the dev. And secondly, go buy it. Because it is such a silly game. You need to experience it in your life.
Your life, Roomba, there's just so much blood.
Your life needs to feel the joy that this game can give you.
100%.
There's no other words to describe it.
There's just so much blood.
I know. You gotta clean it up.
Oh god,
man!
It the mess. You clean the mess. That's how it works.
I love it. It's stupid in all the great ways. All right, so this next story here caused a little bit of chatter in our Discord, which you can join by going to patreon.com/Duel Screens, just like our Patreon producers, Colton, The Apprentice, Nestler, and FNH. Paul, thank you guys for supporting us. Microsoft can't. This is coming from Push Square, so this is a PlayStation-centered video game site. So please understand that it's going to have a certain tilt to it. Microsoft can't deny Xbox Game Pass cannibalizes software sales. The original article, this has been since updated, so I'm going to just go through the original. Xbox's popular Game Pass subscription is tanking the sales of games that join the service. Included in a new report from the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, Microsoft has admitted that software added to Game Pass has its actual sales figures significantly impacted as a result. Quote, Microsoft also submitted that its internal analysis shows a redacted percentage decline in base game sales 12 months following their addition on Game Pass, end quote, the report says. So for a year following the game's launch on Game Pass, it sees a dip in sales on Xbox platforms. Now, we're going to go into the update. Following a wave of reporting based on documentation from UK's Competition and Markets Authority, which suggested what we all suspected, that Xbox Game Pass is harming full-price software sales, the Redmond firm has released a statement to Kotaku, which fails to deny the claims. Quote, Game Pass offers gamers and game creators more choice and opportunity in how they discover, experience, and deliver games. For gamers, that means providing another option for them to discover games and play with friends at a great value. For developers, that means creating another option for how they monetize their games. We're focused on helping game creators of all sizes maximize the total financial value they receive through Game Pass. Each game is unique, so we work closely with the creators to build a custom program to reflect what they need, ensure they are compensated financially for their participation in the service, and allow room for creativity and innovation. As a result, the number of developers interested in working in Game Pass will continue to grow. Now, and of course, this PlayStation website says in translation, yes, it affects software sales. From our interviews that we've had with hundreds of developers and probably, I don't know, maybe 40 since Game Pass launched, maybe 50. I don't know. It depends. I don't know how old Game Pass is at this point.
Game Pass is like 2017. It's been around for a while. 26.
No way.
No, it's not that old.
Dude, it's been around for a while.
Somebody put that in the chat. I want to know when
I would say
2018
at the earliest.
I was going to say like 2020.
19. I thought 2019.
But now
2017, you're crazy.
I don't know. That doesn't seem right.
June 1st, 2017 is when Game Pass first launched.
Wow,
get the fuck out of here. That's insane. We're old.
That's where we are, kids.
That's crazy.
We're old.
So I stand corrected. Mm-hmm. A lot of the developers that we interviewed that had their games on both PlayStation Plus and Game Pass, but since we're talking about Game Pass, we'll talk about Game Pass. This was a lifeline for a lot of indie developers that were given a to their scale, to their internal workings and what their needs were. This was a massive payout in most cases, a massive payout for them to put their game on Game Pass. And that is confirmed by Mike Rose, who's the developer of No More Robots. He tweeted out every time Game Pass is in the news.
He's the publisher.
Publisher. That's right. Sorry,
yeah, that's who he works for.
Yeah, we actually we communicate with Mike a lot, don't we?
Oh yeah, he's always in the inbox floating around. He's a great guy.
Every time Game Pass is in the news, my Descenders search fills with mentions of people on both sides try to explain why Descenders is proof of their own claim about Game Pass. And every single time, oh boy, do I learn that gamers do not understand how video games work at all. All I can say is we're aiming to get every single title we publish from now on onto Game Pass. In doing so, we'll secure success for each title and relieve immense pressure for the devs. But please, gamers, continue to explain why it's bad for us.
I think both of those things can be true.
Correct. Right? I agree.
It probably is great for developers, right? They get this lump sum, they get help developing the game or whatnot, and they get exposure. Mm-hmm. But also, if your game is on Game Pass and I'm paying $15 a month for Game Pass, I'm not going to buy your game. Probably ever.
Because your game price costs the same or maybe around $15
more.
Yeah,
probably.
Same exact amount of
money.
So
I think both of these things can be true. And I think the question really is not, hey, are there declining sales? The question really is like, does the decline in sales negate the amount of money that the developers have been given by Microsoft to bring their title to Game Pass?
And that's part of what goes into the deal making.
Right.
There are analysts and people who do this for a living to do projections on what a game they have more information than we could even fathom of having at their fingertips. And publishers, like Mike, they have that information. They know how much money they need to make in order for a project to be successful. And at the end of the day, that's what publishers want. They don't, of course they want their game to be the next big thing that explodes and is incredible. But guess what? If it happens on Game Pass, the next game by those developers or publisher are going to be worth more money to Microsoft.
Yep.
And they will make more money in their deal with Microsoft. So, this is something that's been around really since the beginning of time. It's just only now become in the last 5 or 6 years become so prevalent in video games. But like we've had this forever. Blockbuster used to have exclusive video games that were made exclusive, like versions of games that were exclusive. Clay Fighter.
Yep,
had
its own literally there was a Blockbuster version of that game.
They were,
which is worth a shitload of money now.
Ton of money. Yep. But that has been around forever. It was a way for developers to have something exclusive to a shop. And again, this goes for everything. This goes for king size candy bars for 30 years were exclusive to movie theaters for like forever. It was only when the big box chains opened up, like a Costco and those became more prevalent, that these king size candy bars really started to explode in popularity and then spread, all over the place. This is something that has happened forever. And if it didn't work for the people putting their games on the service, their games wouldn't be on the service. That information would spread like wildfire.
But I also think at the same time, to add to that, like, I think that if it really was a negative thing, because Microsoft is really the one who kind of brought this up, right? Like they were the ones who started this conversation. And I feel like if on the development side, it was really that bad, they probably would have never brought it up, right? They know what they have. They know how much money they're making with Game Pass and how huge of a marketing push they have right now and how much momentum they have in the industry. And I think that being transparent about stuff like this is important, and that they are is really telling of where they think they are in the industry right now. because I think they're in a really, really good place. And so I
Mhm.
think if like a third party investigative journalist had brought this up, maybe the conversation would be a little bit different because it would have felt like Microsoft was trying to hide something. But because they started the conversation, I feel like they were able to set the tone and kind of make everybody think a little bit differently about what it actually what this actually means. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And where those sales are going and where the money is coming from for these developers.
Yeah,
Um, to get my 2 cents in all this,
please do.
well, first I want to say that I actually, prior to this uh episode, I did reach out to Mike to come on the show because I feel he has a lot of insight into this particular issue. And, I think what this really needs to sort of settle people's minds is actual real data and figures, because this doesn't work across the board. Because if it works for a no robots develop publisher, that's fine, but that's not going to apply across the board to every indie game developer. And the issue really isn't, am I a developer getting a nice chunk of money and benefiting from that, and the stress comes off of my team to make their game without worrying about recouping the loss or the investment to making the game. It's, does the service itself cannibalize game sales in some way, shape, or form? That's what the issue is. And, I think it's kind of, it makes sense because if I, again, if a game is on Steam and it's also on Game Pass, I'm not buying the game on Steam. Buying it on Game, I'm just getting on Game Pass. It's on the service and it's available. If you have a pool of at least 20 million people on that service that can play that game without spending a dime, and if it's only on the Game Pass and one other thing like PC and Steam primarily, it's gonna eat up sales. It just,
What is
there's
it
no
going
way.
like? I want to clarify. I want this to be more black and white
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think it's as gray as the conversation is kind of leading it towards.
Mm-hmm.
What are sales? Sales are a product amount
Mm-hmm.
that gives the creators compensation.
Mhm.
If the Game Pass purchase
So
to
is that
put
a
it,
sale?
but what I'm saying is the sale is Microsoft is buying this game.
Right.
They're buying hundreds of thousands of copies of the game for
Right.
X amount of dollars.
Yes. It's
Like,
the equivalent
It's
of
six
these
in
amount
one
of
hand.
sales.
Exactly. It's
Right.
six in one hand, half dozen in the other.
Right.
So it's cannibalizing downloads. Not even. It's cannibalizing
No, it's cannibalizing direct sales.
direct sales from a competitor,
Right.
but it's not cannibalizing the publisher's dollar signs.
Well,
Right, because they've received, well, again, the issue is, it's, again, you need some sort of raw data because you have to compare. Because with Descenders, in this one tweet from Mike, I imagine his game launches across all the platforms. It's across, and they get a nice chunk, and they know what their game is sell, like what their typical sales are across all platforms. And it's like, hey, they could be getting a chunk that covers more than what they expect out of an Xbox audience for their game. We don't know that. But again, if you have at the ready, let's say a game has Hi-Fi Rush. Let's put that on the table. Hi-Fi Rush shot up on the Steam charts when it launched.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like in the low 40s on the charts. It like shot up and then it came back down.
Mm-hmm.
It has, like, I want to say at this point, my last check before this episode, like 2,000-ish concurrent players. All-time high around 6K. It sold well. Maybe, like, I want to say, let's be fair, let's say it sold 100K units so far on Steam. So you have that figure, but let's say 2 million played it on Game Pass. Is that not cannibalizing potential game sales for that game.
But I think that's why the other side of the data is just as important, right? It really matters. Yeah. It really matters what the total amount of money that
right. And also
Microsoft. I don't even know if there's any kind of like bonus incentives for extra downloads, or I don't know how the Game Pass structure works at all.
And also, like, what
I mean, I know that they like we talked about, there's an upfront purchase of X amount of copies or whatever the projected amount of sales probably are. But then I don't know if, like, hey, let's say we buy. This is hypothetical because, again, I don't know how the deals work exactly. But let's say, just for throwing out numbers, 100 copies, right? We'll give you money for 100 copies, but then 400 people download it on Game Pass, right? Is there like a bonus incentive for that because the game is popular now? Or because that's when it starts cannibalizing sales, is when the amount of sales that you actually could have done is more than what Microsoft has given you for money. So, and I think that's why it's important.
Can't guarantee that those people would have bought the game anyway because it's included in their service.
But you remove that option because it's already on the service. And also, like, again, what does a game like Descenders cost to make? Maybe whatever deal they got was like, hey, that's like $signs. We get that, we recoup that instantly. Again, it's all about how these deals are struck. I'm not sure what data like they give to Microsoft to get a figure.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if Hi-Fi Rush is a great example, only because that's like a triple indie, right? Like, that's published by Bethesda.
True. But again, it's
super polished.
It is, and again, but I'm just comparing, like, when you have, because the sales numbers, they can't be, if they were through the roof, you would have seen the sales number announcements of that game when it came out. Like, it sold 2 million copies on Steam day one. That would have been all over the headlines. But I'm pretty sure that game was played and downloaded on Game Pass way more than it's been on Steam.
Right. But with Bethesda being the publisher, do you think that Microsoft just gave whatever studio that was an infinite amount of money, right? Like, because Bethesda is like one of their golden goose eggs right now, right? They're kind of holding on to that.
Yeah, they probably were just like, it was probably a side project within the studio, and they were like, okay, cool, throw it on Game Pass, great. Yeah. But like, their salaries are paid for. Like,
but you know,
exactly. That's what I mean. So I don't know if that's a great example. I think that like something like I don't know,
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles is a great example, right? But even that property is so huge that I think it would have sold regardless.
Right, but you would imagine that game would have commanded a very large sum to be on Game Pass.
Money. True. Yep. Yeah.
You know, just based on IP and, you know, its popularity. So
yeah, I guess that's the trouble with not having exact figures, right? Is just it's impossible.
Even percentages, even if we had percentages,
right,
like that would be great.
If they want to disclose it, that'd be great.
But I don't think that they ever will, because they've been. I mean, the one thing that Xbox has been pretty close to the chest about is like what amount of revenue this is all bringing in and everything. I don't feel like
we don't even need to know that. Like, I just want to know the structure of a deal. Like,
right. But I'm saying that if they're so close-lipped about the overall impact of Game Pass on Xbox as a whole, there's no way we'll ever get any kind of insight into that kind of a deal without insider knowledge, like Mike. You know, I doubt that, and maybe he has to sign an NDA, so we'll never know anyway.
Right. But again, I think, to Matt's earlier point, that while it could still, the deals could be to the benefit, it's the benefit of us, the gamers, because we get these games at no cost on a service like Game Pass, and also it's a direct cash injection to an indie dev up front without worrying about will we hit sales targets. Right. This game,
they basically become Xbox studios.
Right. On this on this platform.
Yeah, like you've been paid, like your salary is paid by us. You're not like technically our studio, but like we kind of own you now. Right. Like we're in your pockets.
And you know, again, we can easily say if this was a guaranteed formula, then everyone would want to put their stuff on this service.
But don't they?
It's happening. It's happening. I mean, we're seeing it happen.
I was gonna say, like, aren't there like
more and more bigger, proven, like, studios and publishers are like more shit is like MLB The Show is on there.
That's a Sony game.
Well,
What?
What do they pay for that though?
A lot of money.
Well, you
Yeah.
have because when you have a the bag of holding of money
Right.
at your disposal, there's a bottomless pit of cash.
Sony had to be pushed in that direction, of course, because they were the only pony in the race. But I'm sure
that was a big deal. That was
I'm sure Sony made a lot of money putting that shit on Game Pass.
I think
I don't think they're worried about cannibalizing their PlayStation sales because it's still in the top 10 every year.
The whole thing about cannibalization, it isn't even the indie games aren't really gonna be in that chat. It's more about when the big AAAs hit the service, when we get Starfields,
right?
When we get the Perfect Darks.
But that doesn't matter to them though. The indies is where it does matter, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
But they don't give a shit how much money Bethesda makes because they're literally funding them with their infinite Microsoft money. They care about them having Starfield as an exclusive Xbox game so that they can entice more people to join their service. Xbox doesn't even want to give you a fucking Xbox anymore. They just want you to fucking subscribe to their shit.
Matt, I totally agree with you. I'm talking about sustainability in terms of what it costs to make a AAA game now.
Sure.
Like how much do you think it costs to make Starfield? A Starfield.
$200 million.
Will it cost to make?
I was going to say 5.
Elder Scrolls 6.
$350 million.
It's like
Steve's out here bidding for these contracts right now.
Listen.
I'll do it for 250.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Do we have a Kickstarter of the week to wrap up our?
I thought I threw something, but maybe not.
That might have been last week. We have a couple of comments in the running chat here live on twitch.tv/Duel Screen Streams. Mikey Kirsch says, this also brings into question whether someone would have bought the game on another system but opted for Game Pass. You have to calculate Xbox sales and potential competitor sales, which again is probably the formula. Like there's got to be a formula for that, and maybe we'll learn that from Mike.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of projected sales. It has to be, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense for me.
And we already know Game Pass is a loss leader for Microsoft, for the Xbox brand. Actually, Xbox
is a loss leader for Microsoft.
Right, was originally I'm sure I believe it's profitable in the last couple of generations, but it when it first came out, it was just to get it in whatever. We're gonna get off the race.
Yeah, in the weeds.
Sonny Rads says, I also don't understand how it affects them financially any more than being up on EA for free randomly, available through Gold for free or PS Plus for free. Wouldn't that also affect sales? Just Game Pass does it for a longer period of time and doesn't give them permanent ownership. Yeah, I mean it yes, and this argument, the reason why this argument is being so put to the forefront is that it was only Game Pass that brought day one, day and date to the forefront. PlayStation did it every once in a while, and their biggest, I would say biggest success in that was Rocket League, right? Like Rocket League came out on PS Plus day one, and it fucking exploded. Yeah. And then they did the season pass and all that shit came. Fall Guys was another, Fall Guys was another example. So it's when that, but those games were free. Those games were free to play.
Nope. Rocket League originally was not free to play.
Fall Guys was, right?
Yeah, Rocket League was free.
Did Fall Guys launch free to play? I don't think it did.
I think it was on PS Plus, and then when it came off PS Plus, I think it was free.
I think when it went multi-platform.
Yes, that's I don't know what if it all happened at the same time or if it was staggered. Because
actually,
I remember it being costing money at some point, but I just don't remember how.
Rocket League definitely cost at least $20 because I bought it on Steam in addition to having it for free.
And then they did the
PlayStation. Yeah, and then they went free to play.
Right, and I wonder if it's because they realized they had more player engagement when it was free on PlayStation Plus.
It could be, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that we're not talking about is that there are games that aren't indie games that are definitely probably making more money being free to play and using monetization techniques that aren't purchases.
Absolutely. And that's
outright purchases.
That's Game Pass and PS Plus and all that stuff are the games of service of games of service. Like that's the point. That the whole point of it is like, hey, throw fucking costumes in here and weapons and shit, and you'll
But that
make
scares the
plenty
shit
more
out of me
extra
because
money.
I don't want to play through Starfield, and every time I start fucking Starfield up, it's like new fucking helmet pack.
Guess
Do
what?
you
It's
wanna buy
happening.
it for $39.99.
It's gonna
You didn't
happen.
buy the game, so pay for this instead.
It's
Horse
going to
armor all
happen.
over again.
It's
Horse
going to
armor all
happen.
over again.
It
It's
makes
going
me
to happen.
wonder-
So
It makes you wonder what the deal difference is between a Game Pass game that's there for a limited window versus a PS Plus, which is once you have it, you own that game as long as you subscribe to the service.
Well,
Right.
but I think that's what Rads was kind of trying to
Yeah.
get at, right? Even if it's not day one. I mean, well, actually, there probably is a significant difference because of the day one availability, right? Like, if your game is, like Ollie Ollie World Radland Edition or whatever is launching on PS Plus this month, that game's been out for what, a year, 6 months?
Right.
It's probably likely done the most amount of sales that it's going to do at a large
I mean,
scale.
the initial
Mhm.
run's already done. It goes back to Sony putting their games on PC a year after the fact or 2 years
Yeah.
after the fact.
And so putting it out there
It's
is
a second life in a sense.
exactly. It's giving it kind of a second life after the
Mhm.
fact.
Right.
That the sales run is initially.
all right, before we get back into the weeds, Mike Kirsch has a correction here. They were bought by Epic Fall Guys. That's what it was.
So that's
when
when
they
free to
went.
play.
That's
Yeah.
when they went free to play.
I actually think he might be talking about Rocket League as well, because Rocket
Oh,
League is also owned
yes.
by Epic.
Wait,
That's
was
right.
Fall Guys?
Epic
wait.
didn't buy that studio.
Wait.
Rocket League is definitely owned by Epic now,
Yes,
for sure,
it is.
100%.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm. Wait.
Epic
Yeah,
also
Epic-
owns the
Epic
Fall
owns
Guys
Fall.
game.
Yeah, I could have swore that was a whole thing. It was like because we were like, oh, now they're too big to come on the show because
Epic owns them now.
because Epic we were like, yay, dude, we love you, and we did the show with them, and then they exploded, and then it was like there was no shot.
They're never
because
gonna
then they got bought by
never gonna
Epic.
come back now.
Yeah, that was dead in the water. All right, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Sometimes we know things, sometimes we don't.
true.
That's okay because we're all here in this together. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to us. Again, check out the Duel Screens podcast. It's our interview show where we interview developers. Show actually just went up today because Andy's lazy and he was busy this week. So he was both really doing a lot and also
But I
doing
did it.
nothing.
But I did it.
And it was done. So yeah, go up there
Listen,
and check that one out.
I found time to write this week. All right. So
I love
There
you
go.
for it.
You know,
and
that's
I
great.
love you for it.
That's great. You did it.
That show should post every Monday. The audio version goes up on Monday. And this show will post on Fridays. So yeah, go do that on your favorite podcast
like
service.
the WWE of independent
Independent podcasting.
in development.
These podcasts are constantly in development. That
I
is
told you guys that I
is for
couldn't
sure.
read.
Reading is hard. Thank you, the listeners. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Andy. Thank you all. And as always, please be excellent to each other and play some indies.